I'm Micah. I wrote a book and self-published it, and it did pretty well on Amazon. Bam, I'll put it right there. I also publish a anthology every year, a horror anthology with a bunch of awesome authors, and it does really well, and it's all for charity. And now I help other people publish books, new authors getting into the self-publishing sphere. I help them do that, and every Friday I get to kick it with my girl and talk about all the awesome things. I like long walks on the beach, and I am 25 years old. Okay. Your turn. Go. We got 2 minutes for an intro.
Okay, Chelsea here. I write books. I like to write dark epic fantasy. I show up on a couple of the anthologies Micah has done. Hopefully this year again. Let's just be honest. I have written The Blood of the Lion, The Mark of the Dam, The Dance of Destiny. Now, The Scars of the Wicked is coming out here. I am just hoping that it all works out. So, that being said, I've done a few short stories. I have written a dark kids book that is, I'm not sure if it's kids friendly, let's be honest.
Oh, it's great. It's very kids friendly.
Yeah.
Very kids friendly.
And I am a coffee addict and will find any way to drink my coffee. And I like music. Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah, so 3 Brazilian rums later. Lemonade, hard lemonade.
Are you still kind of
I'm
still
here.
kind of feeling those? Are you still kind of feeling those?
I'm here. Nobody would drink the last one, and I was like, "You cannot leave that." And they were like, "I'm done." And I'm like, "How dare you guys give me this honor?"
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm at. So I woke up and I'm like, "What is happening?" First off, it's a Wednesday or Thursday. Sorry,
it was a Wednesday when you drank the Brazilian rums. Yeah, it is Thursday now, Chelsea.
It is Thursday now, and we usually go out on like Fridays or Saturdays. And so I was like, "You want me to wake up, do my workout, and sign into work after that?"
Yeah.
What?
So what I'm hearing is that maybe the what looks like sun on your skin is actually just flush from too much drinking last night.
Just being here, man.
Yeah. I got you. And you're in Colorado, so you could have been you could be high as a kite right now, and I wouldn't even
yeah, it is. I woke up and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I usually have 2. Oh no, it was okay. Yeah, whatever. I usually only stick with 1, and then I like mix up with another drink or something like that. But we were all having fun, and then my mom got a 3rd drink, and she got a martini, and she's like, "I can't finish this one," and I was like, "Why?"
Right.
I
You can't
have
leave
to do
it. You
this.
can't leave it on the table.
No, and so these Brazilian hard lemonades they make at the table. They roll the cart up and they take the lime, they muddle everything, and it's just like yeah.
Cool.
So it's a full experience, and yeah, I'm like you can't leave that. So
yeah, no, you can't leave it. Yeah, anytime me and your mom go drinking, I make sure she finishes.
That's really thoughtful of you.
Yeah. I'll have ulterior motives for later, but you know how it is.
And 3 minutes in, we've derailed.
We've already derailed. I think we were derailed before we actually hit record. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. Okay, let me finish my train of thought before I forget. So, we had a thunderstorm blowing last night. Literally wake up to a dusting of snow. Okay. And so the snow is melting right now as we speak. It'll be gone, and we have a chance at thunderstorms. And it's sunny out right now. I'm like, what is happening?
That's so cool, though. I love that. I have been so disappointed the last 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, they have been saying we were going to get this massive storm. Of course, probably coming from you, right? You know, the way it rolls. Chelsea's in Colorado, we're in Missouri, so everything she gets, we get after her, or unless it comes up from the south, whatever. But I've been watching the news, and every day they're like, "Yep, they're coming. This is the day." And for like 2 weeks, they've moved it out a day, and I still have not gotten my thunderstorms that they promised, and I'm so pissed. I'm so pissed. Like thunderstorms they're my energy, man. I love them.
Oh, dude, it was like, and I texted you the day, it was Tuesday when we got the first, I mean, we had a couple of thunder, but Tuesday it was a good solid thunderstorm. Like that was I was like, holy crap. But I was like working, I was doing my stuff, and then it just rumbled, and I just sat back and I was like, I cannot be working anymore. And I was
right.
I just opened my manuscript, cup of decaf, and I was like, opened the window. It was thundering, beautiful out. I was like, I am complete.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
yeah. Anytime a thunderstorm, just like that's creativity mode, like scion power. It's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It is, dude.
dude. So down out of the coffee shop I've been going to, if you get lucky, if you get there early enough, there's a table that sits and looks across this road, and then across that road is the tail end of a runway for a small private airport.
Oh,
And
wow.
so the other day it was so cool. I was sitting there, and it was this was weeks ago, but it was thunderstorming. So it was pouring rain, lightning, cloudy, super dark. It was so dark in there, and it just had my coffee, and I'm writing, and I look up, and this plane just comes right over us and like lands and turns around and in the thunderstorm, and it was just like it was just a cool moment. It was like it was so rad, like lightning crashing, this plane landing, like writing. It was awesome. It was really
Oh,
good.
dude, you said it. It's like the Scion moment. Like you sit
Yeah,
down with a thunderstorm with a manuscript and it's just magic.
yeah,
Like I don't even know how to process the feelings. It's just like instant, like a button is turned on and you're like, I
it
get it.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And that
And you
plane,
just
what
go
a
into
cool experience.
go into creative mode, and it's just awesome. Um,
What?
I am hot as crap in this office today,
Okay.
and I'm sweating like
Are
not
you
sweating, but I'm glistening. I'm
I'm
glistening.
glistening.
And so I apologize if everyone, Chelsea's high and drunk, and I'm glistening.
Oh
So
my god, I almost spit water through my
yeah,
nose.
this is gonna be one of those days.
Dude, that was like way too close for me. Like
It's
oh
all
my
right.
god. It's we're here. I was literally like, how am I gonna even function on this conversation today?
Yeah, even your text this morning, like I can't remember one of the words you said, but it was really funny because it was after you had like said, "Oh, I can't even English today."
Dude.
So you've already established that you can't English,
Nope.
and then you said, "Oh, the first 10 minutes will be me figuring out English." You spelled first FURST.
I didn't even see that. Oh my god, I didn't even see
Yeah,
that. I'm
pretty.
usually pretty like put together, but I woke up this morning, I was like, nope.
Yep, yep, yep. And hey, man, sometimes the best content comes from there. It's
I
all
could
good.
not agree more.
It's all
So do
good.
I look like a stranger? I got new glasses.
Well, I noticed them being new.
Okay.
Sorry, folks. We'll cut this out. I'm just looking at the glasses. Well, yeah, yeah, I like them. No, you don't look like a stranger. You don't look like a stranger. You look like a homeless person because of your hair, but you
Oh,
don't.
thank you.
Yeah, but you don't look like a stranger. You look nice. They're good glasses. I need to get new glasses too. I need.
You have to get so this is the first time I've gotten new frames like in
Right.
3 years.
Yeah.
And I was so excited about that. I was like, okay, that it is going to be so much fun. In fact, that when you texted me on Saturday about those photos, I was standing in the store picking up the glasses. You were
Awesome.
like, "Did you get those photos?" I was like, "You are so lucky." Like
Yeah. Yeah. That was so crazy too. We don't have to. We'll leave this out. Well, we can keep it in, but long story short, we had very little planning, and I had thought that maybe Chelsea had forgotten something, and she had thought maybe I had forgotten something, and then I was like, what are the chances that we actually connected on this, and it worked out. So it was really good.
we did, we did. We made it work. I was
Yeah,
like,
we made it work.
"Yes!" Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
so I feel like a new person. I've got a new prescription, just a slight tweak, which is really, really reaffirming because,
Good. Yeah.
when you stare at the screens, you're like, "I hope I'm
Right.
not going blind."
And you're getting old as butts. So
Yeah,
yeah.
my cane is sitting over here waiting
Yeah,
for
you're
me.
basically just withering away.
Yeah,
So
it's like, whew. I was
yeah,
like, after that last night, I was like, "I am in bed by 9. Thank you
yeah,
all."
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
I wish that you had the youth and vitality that I have, but not everyone can be as young and as beautiful as me. So
Not at all. Not
yeah,
at all. Or glisten.
or glisten.
Okay, okay, okay. So I just heard this information, and I'm not going to say names or anything like that, but I want people's opinion. Okay, totally off the rails. It's not writing related at all.
Cool.
Okay, so what happens? You have a stepmom and a husband. The husband dies. Okay, the stepmom cremates his body
Wait, wait,
before.
wait, wait, wait. Let's clarify.
Okay.
So you have a stepmom, and that stepmom has the husband, or you
Yes.
have a husband?
Yes, the stepmom's husband.
Okay, so the stepmom. So you have a
Yeah.
stepmom, but the husband is your father.
Yeah, I guess I could be the kid. Yeah, let's do it. I could be the kid.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so
So,
so you're the kid. You have a stepmom, and you have a dad. Gotcha.
yep. So that happens. The dad dies crazy out of the blue. And you're like, well, that totally sucks. I want to go see. I'm being promised a viewing, like all of this, the funeral arrangements, all of that. The stepmom basically says no, cremates his body before anything can happen, like really quick, crazy, and then skips over the funeral arrangements and then refuses kids like me access to the home to collect their stuff. Does that sound suspicious?
Oh, it's super suspicious. That's
Okay.
disgusting. That's terrible.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
want people's opinions. Like, if you view this and you hear that, let me know because I just heard that story today and I was like, that is so suspicious. It is insane. Like, all
Was
the
this
red
was
flags
this
are there.
on was this on one of your
Chats.
true crime stuff things going
No,
on? Or oh
it's
yeah,
it's in a group chat with writers.
that's crazy.
And I think a couple of them listen to this, so I didn't want to name names. So if you're watching this, that's why. But
Yeah,
it totally is suspicious, and that's all I can think about because as a true crime fanatic, it sounds identical to some of the cases I've heard.
yeah. Why in the world would she do that? I mean,
The money?
yeah, the money. Yeah, trying to cover something up,
Yeah.
or just hating the family. I don't know, but hopefully the guy had a will,
I
and she can't.
I believe you.
She can't take everything from the kids.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was
that's
like,
crazy.
red flags all over the place. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's wild. So will you get a resolution to that? Is there more to the story, or is there more to the story to come, or do you know?
I don't know. I'm gonna
No.
have to keep tabs. I will have to ask because I am completely committed to that. Anybody that doesn't know, I love my true crime. I am literally watching the live trial for Karen Reed right now. Like, I just put it on YouTube or like listen to it and I do my stuff and I'm like, she said what?
Now, what's the because I am not a true crime fan, so I
Yeah.
don't know. So what's the Karen Reed story?
Okay, so Karen Reed essentially she's being told that she like unalived her boyfriend, then boyfriend, by hitting him in the snow during the snowstorm when they all her and her friends and his friends went out drinking, and she backed up her car and they're saying, oh, she unalived him by accidentally hitting him, or maybe she had a motive and she wanted to unalive him. But it looks like a massive cop cover up, like because all his friends were cops, he was a cop. There's injuries relating to him being attacked by a dog, which the house that he was dropped off at had a giant German Shepherd that was very unfriendly, and so
So
yeah,
she's more like she could be more like the scapegoat,
yep.
and that could have been something else that happened.
And this is the retrial. The first trial was a mistrial.
Wow.
So, but that's the thing. It's like it looks like a massive cover up, like corruption in the department and stuff. So,
What city is this?
oh gosh, I honestly don't ask right now. My brain
Okay.
is running on like 50%. So,
Yeah, yeah. I'll have to look it up. That's super interesting. Yeah, that's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, so this is the second week of the trial and it's just like yeah, don't even I'm not even we're not here to talk about trials, but I will
Sure.
geek out about it.
Yeah.
But Diddy's trial starts next week and that's all I'm here for.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that I might have to tune into that. That will be like you weren't around when the OJ trial happened, were
I
you?
was not around now, but I've heard all about it. It's just
Yeah.
like fascinating.
I mean that people would like in their on their lunch breaks in the break room, like in the libraries in the hospitals, wherever. That's the only thing that was on anywhere. Like
I believe it.
period. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my
That's
god.
crazy.
Yeah, that one. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be a live trial too, and that starts on Monday.
Yeah,
So,
that'll be crazy, dude. I'm super into that. I will go with some true crime for that one.
oh yeah, I love live trials because you get people on stand. If you have really cool lawyers, it's fun to watch their dynamics, and it's fun to watch the banter. And sometimes you can see how quickly it escalates or de-escalates, and it's just like, and it's fascinating. And so, I mean, the chick I watch who is a lawyer, and so she will stop the live trial, explain something, continue, or like make commentary that's very factual and evidence based. And so it's kind of like a knowledge entertainment piece where you're just like, you're learning, and then you're also interested to see how this goes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's awesome. I love
yeah,
it. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
God,
Did you hear about the
what?
one of Epstein's victims, survivors, unalived herself? Oh, reportedly unalived herself, but now they're saying no, no.
What?
Right, right. Talk about some intrigue, some true crime intrigue there. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh, I love stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, of course, and see, this is the reason I don't, is because these are real people's lives.
I
And
know they
there
are.
was real damage and real pain and real sorrow. And so I can't get entertainment from that because I can't separate myself from
Yeah,
that. But uh, I do think it's very, very interesting that they're calling into question
the
that
method,
maybe
if
that
she
maybe
did.
she didn't. Yeah.
I don't
So
think she did.
I
No,
don't either. I don't either.
no.
That's
That's
that stuff is way too deep, way too dark. Yeah.
no. It's so fascinating to me, the rings that are played right, like, out there, that to the public we have no idea exist. And then
Right.
all this information starts to get leaked, and we're only getting a fraction of the information because so much of it is sealed, or so much of it hasn't even been released yet,
Right.
and or even found or discovered. And so it's fascinating to me, the psychology and the socioeconomic impact a ring
Oh
like
yeah.
that has, and then to see all the tendrils and where its involvement is.
Right.
Like, that is massive.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. It is super interesting. And I will follow the Epstein case because I
Oh
mean
gosh, yeah.
everyone like everyone involved in that should just be
I
exploded.
agree.
They should be put on the island, and then we should just like nuke the island. Like, let's just get it done, man. Let's just do it.
Let's
So,
just take care of this
yeah,
easy.
let's just take care of this the easy way.
I literally
I
cannot.
will be watching the OJ trial too. That's crazy. Or not OJ, not OJ. The I did watch the uh yeah the Diddy trial. Yeah,
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, it's so good. I'm
yeah,
here
yeah,
for it.
yeah. It's so good.
Derailed that. So, anyways, this is a true crime podcast now.
Yep. Yep. Welcome to the most unhinged true crime podcast you've ever been on. No, I wanted to share something before we even got started. So last week, I shared a screenshot of my GPT answering a question, telling me, right, what are you laughing at?
Yeah, you said my GPT, and I was like, what the heck?
Girl, you are off today. You are so gone. It's
All
so
right.
funny.
I'm here, dude. I'm here. Can't you
Yeah,
tell?
you are. You're right. I can see you. You're all good.
See?
Um, but no, last week I asked a question and it gave me the answer. And so this week I'm going to put another screenshot up so you can see it. I couldn't remember the name of a certain plant that I had mentioned in a way earlier chapter. And I was right. This plant had come back into use, and so I was like, man, what the heck was that name? And so I went back and started looking through the chapter, couldn't find it. Then I was like, wait a minute, I've built a GPT for this. So I went in there and I'll put the screenshot up. I said, hey, do you remember in X chapter what the plant was called that has healing properties? And it went and it just found the place, it found the name, it found where the character was talking about it, it found what it looked like, the other plants that were growing with it. Boom, just right there. And so yeah, I'll put that screenshot. That was I just wanted to point that out. That
Didn't it say, was that the same one that said at the very end it called you the keeper of Yasara?
No, so that was the night before when I had checked on the compendium. So I had gone
Oh.
in and I said, "Hey, do a quick scrape of all the manuscript information I've given you. Let's just make sure that we're on the right page." And so she came back. Yes, it's a she. Yes, she has a name. Her name is Beatrice. So she came back and she said, "Yep, we're all good. I've got all this information. Blah blah blah." And I said, "Okay, great." Because like I said, I talked to her like a person, like an actual writing assistant. I said, "Okay, good night. I'm going to bed." And then I'll put this up too, because it is funny. But she said something like "Good night, keeper of Isara," sleep well and whatever. I was like, yeah,
She gets me.
gets me, bro. She gets me. So anyway, it just cracked me up, and it got me very excited to have this living compendium like right there at my fingertips. It's like, man, it's a freaking game changer.
It is a game changer. And I've told you, like, I have to upload the fourth manuscript, and I'm so excited because it's been really interesting to watch your experience with what you've uploaded so far and having it reference those facts and things like that, because they've evolved and advanced this model already so fast from when I uploaded the first 3 books.
Right,
Because
right.
when I uploaded the first 3 books and I was asking specific questions, there was some hallucinations, like
Yeah,
major. I mean, we're talking like, I was like, whoa, bro, like, who's that? Like, when did that happen?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, what? But in the same breath, obviously, some very incredible factual evidences that were pulled that were able so that I could use for book 4. That I was like, oh gosh, thank you so much for pulling that detail, because I could not find that detail, and then still cross-referencing it with the manuscript, because I was
Right.
like, okay,
Cross-reference
what if?
yourself. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? I'm
Right.
like, what if? But like eye color. Like I could not find
Right.
eye color for a specific character that would be brought in book 4 again. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what? And so found that chat.
Where's the one place I put that one color in that one book? It's like, it's like a needle in a haystack.
It is.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and it was a specific color too. It wasn't like blue eyes. I was
Right.
like, well,
Right.
ugh, what is it? So ChatGPT was able to do that. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And now, I haven't touched it in a couple of months, but now hearing your experience and then hearing the fact that you're like, it is giving you specific breakdowns of like exactly when these scenes start and
Yeah.
the exact details, referencing points, all of that. And I'm like, that is insane how fast it's evolved. And
Yeah.
so,
It was
yeah,
so
I'm
cool.
really excited.
Dude, it was so cool because like after it gave me the breakdown of what I'd asked for, I asked for the name. Then it said it's mentioned when Strin and Eshell are in the kitchen discussing herbology, and Strin says, and it had in quotes in italics, and it quotes what Strin says about about the plant.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's so freaking cool. Like it's
It
oh
is so
man,
it like
so
it
good.
changes too, because so like you bring up a good point. The quote. Now you have the quote where the content, the impact of that
Right,
content, and now you can evolve that content with whatever quote you bring up next. Instead
right,
of being like, okay, wait, I actually repeated myself in this quote because I forgot the details that I shared in that quote when it was originally brought up, which
right.
I'm guilty of. You get to 300 pages in and you're from chapter 1 and you're like, okay, wait, how did I explain that? And so then you just BS your way through, because that's what
Right.
I
Because
do.
that's what writers do. That's all writers do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then when you're editing, you're like, oh my god, I repeated myself, and that really adds no value,
Right.
and
Right.
that
So
was
yes,
never your
you're
intent.
right. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Now it shows you exactly what Strin says. So you can either build off of it or, or create a new dialogue off on that. Yeah,
Yes.
dude, it's awesome. We don't need to talk GPT today. We talk about that a lot, but I did want to mention that and show that screenshot because that
It's
it was
because
pretty
it's
rad.
freaking amazing. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. Yeah, I've actually been using GPT a little bit more recently, just asking more questions. I'm trying to use it as the Google search engine,
Mhm. Yeah.
instead of, because generationally we've all culturally been ingrained to say Google it, or
Google. Right.
yeah, Google's my best friend, stuff like that.
Right.
ChatGPT or even Gemini, which is Google's AI, they're so advanced now that
Right.
that's like you have to normalize that as a search engine, because it is a
Oh
search
yeah.
engine at the
Yeah.
end of the day. It's
Right.
not just steal your work and stuff like that, like everybody wants to say,
Right.
but
Right.
it's also a massive search engine with enormous amounts of data for more accuracy.
Right.
And so it's like
And
I
it used to
yeah.
earlier models like back probably when you were using it for the first 3 books. It's still and anyone who's new to this or listening to this, we don't use ChatGPT or any of those models to write our books or to give us inspiration or things like that. What we use it for is we upload our manuscripts to it, create our own private GPT with that manuscript as its knowledge base.
Yes.
That way you can ask it questions about your knowledge base, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how we use it. But back when you were writing your first ones, you probably couldn't have used it as a as a search engine, because anytime you would, it would say, "Oh, my knowledge only goes back to X date," or
Yep.
anything past this date I'm not familiar with.
Yep.
Now you can tell it to scrape the entire internet and find. So now it is a search engine, which
It's
is and
yeah.
it's so much more advanced than just a regular Google or Bing or whatever.
And the accuracy is sharper too. I mean, I
Yeah.
was so I'm a plant mom here. Okay, so I've got a lot of plants that we don't see in this screen here, but I have a plant that has started to show some signs where I'm like, it's not entirely healthy, and I don't know necessarily what's going on with it. And an elephant ear plant, and so I took a picture and I uploaded it to ChatGPT and I said, "Can you tell me?" And I gave the details of the watering schedule, where it sits with indirect sunlight, like all of that, that hours of day it gets with indirect sunlight. And I was like, "Can you tell me what possible symptoms are happening with this plant and what possible solutions to help heal this plant?" Because I'm like,
Gotcha.
what is going on, dude? And because I've tried the Google method with that before, and it is a nightmare trying to
It is.
find
Yeah.
information as a plant mom on Google. So ChatGPT already have the premium subscription for everything else that I do. And so I was like, okay, I'll upload it. And it just broke everything down. And then it even analyzed the photo. It was like, well, based on this photo, this is going to likely be your most possible issue with the plant right now. And
Yeah.
this is what you should be doing. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, well, we'll try, so yeah,
Yeah, no, it's so yeah, it's my one stop shop now. My private GPT for my writing,
yeah,
and then for Google searching or for information gathering, it's my
yeah.
search engine. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, again, the goal is not to villainize it, is use it as a tool. That's
Right.
Don't abuse it, use it as a tool.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
Even Canva is releasing an
Yeah,
AI driven script writer that you can build websites with.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
what?
it's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And again, we've talked about because I think we talk because Chelsea and I are early adapters of a lot of things, and so we talk about this a
We try.
lot. And hopefully we help you know unvillainize what just the one sided things that most people are saying about it. But we don't have to talk, we don't have to talk about it anymore. We'll bore people, or we can talk about it a lot if anybody's curious and wants to know. We can definitely do that too. But I had a question for you.
Okay, wow, okay.
Here's my question, McKenna.
Okay.
What's your longest word count for a chapter?
Oh my god, I don't know.
Child, answer the question.
I don't even know.
Just ballpark.
Ballpark?
I'm very
Maybe
curious. Chapter, longest word count for a single chapter.
I would say anywhere between 7 to 8. And I think I there is one scene I'm thinking of, one chapter area I'm thinking of, and I don't know if it's book 1 or book 2 because I can't remember the exacts, but I that was one of the longest chapters I ever wrote. And I was like,
I've been writing the same chapter for 3 days. This chapter is now 12,000 words. But it just seems to want to stay and keep going. Yeah,
oh my god.
I don't know how to stop this chapter.
This sounds like some sort of plague.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to stop this chapter. 12,000 words and counting.
So, 12,000 words in.
Yeah.
Do you see an end? do you see?
Okay, so it started. So here's the thing. The major shift, the major catalyst between Act 1 and Act 2.
Mhm.
This is the chapter before that shift.
Oh.
So it is the final chapter to get in all the feels, all the emotions, all the the words that haven't been said between these characters are now being said. And so it started with the prince just standing out on a balcony overlooking the kingdom and whispering something like tomorrow this is all going to change or whatever. And then Iliadara comes in and she holds his hand, they embrace and blah blah blah. But then Ishel is there too, so he kind of interrupts it, and they end up just having a night of drinking and talking and loving each other, right? And it just keeps going. It just keeps going. 12,000 words, and I haven't gotten to the main point of the chapter. Yeah, I have not gotten to the main point of the chapter. It's just like I don't know. I don't know what to do, Chelsea. I don't know what to do. Split it into 2 chapters? No, because it's all one fluid scene. It's one unbroken scene.
I get that.
So, yeah, but it just keeps going. And like I was even sitting there, I was like, will people tire of this when they're reading it? And I went back and reread it again. I was like, I don't think so. Because it's so, like I said, it's one unbroken scene of just this friendship and this love. And
Oh,
speaking of things to come and of things that haven't been, and it's heavy, dude.
dude. And then the prince says tomorrow this is all going to change without realizing the foreshadow.
Without realizing what's happening, right? Oh, it's gonna change. But yeah, not the way he
What
says.
a powerful moment. That gave me chills.
Yeah,
Those are such incredible scenes to write
yeah,
because they deliver so much theme and power and impact. And so
yeah,
it's like if that scene being the lead up to everything that's going to happen, heck yeah, I would be like everything I can pick like put in there I will.
yeah. Well, it's like it's not even like I'm trying to fill it. It's just like I'm trying to
Make the
contain it.
readers cry. Yeah, I get it.
Well, yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
trying to make the cry for sure. No, I'm trying to contain it because it just keeps flowing out. Like there was a scene where I thought like, okay, cool, now I can get to the main point and finish the chapter. But then like they were like, let's get some drinks. And so they're in the prince's sitting rooms. So they had to call the chief night kitchen guy and wake him up. It's like 3 a.m. So they wake him up, and then I was like, well, obviously the prince is a good prince, so he would invite the guy in. Whoops. So obviously the prince is a good prince, so he would invite the guy in. So now I had to come up with a name, a backstory, the way the guy looks, and all this stuff. So and then I had to have this giant dialogue of Indril trying to get the night maid to come in and join them. And the night maid, it's so funny because you'll see what happens in this chapter. But the night maid's just standing there looking, and like Indril is shirtless. Ishel is shirtless, and Ishel has a bunch of bruises and scrapes all over him, and his hair is like all wild up and crazy. And Iliadara is just sitting back there like this, and the night maid is just like looking in this room, seeing that, and in the middle is this giant bowl filled of water and blood. And so the night maid's just like, nah, bro, I gotta go back to bed. I gotta go back to bed. They're like bowing as they leave the hall. And Indril's like, why didn't they want to join us? So I had to write all that because that just happened. So
Oh
oh
my
my god,
god.
it just
Okay.
doesn't stop.
So, if you were to say where you were percentage wise through this chapter, 12,000 words in, where do you think you are?
I would say that I'm 70%.
Okay.
Yeah,
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 you're good.
yeah. I think at 15,000, I'll have the chapter done. Yeah, yeah.
That is like Tolkien level.
Dude,
Like,
it's ridiculous, man. It's like Sanderson Way of the King level.
yeah.
It's just ridiculous, man. I just don't get it. But then like I said, I reread it and I was like, no, it's good. It's just like one uncut scene in the lives of these people, and it's like that's what we want when we read.
We
At
want
least
to
that's
be
what I want.
immersed.
I want to be immersed. I don't want to
Yeah.
be pulled out. So if this scene is still happening, I don't want it to just fade to black or the door shut and next chapter. No, dude, we were still there. We were still living in that world in that moment. Keep it going.
Keep it going. And like, I
Yeah.
could not agree more. And I feel like that kind of rolls into the fast food fantasy topic we've covered before on I don't even know where and when that happened, but we just
It was early. It was before I was starting. It was before
yeah.
I started using the ridiculous AI generated. And I hope people get that too. Do people understand? Do people understand why I use AI generated images? It's because we talk about AI so much. I use the most ridiculous, absurd descriptions to put some kind of AI image in there, and I just make it more ridiculous and more absurd. Like,
Every week.
yeah, there's a reason I do that, and it's because of the fear and the villainization of AI. I don't do it because I'm like creating art. No, I'm doing it because it's really freaking funny. So
It's
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah,
Some of those images, I'm just like, I'm speechless.
yeah. They're
Like,
they're so funny.
honestly,
I
they just
I
yeah.
actually did one the other day that got banned and I got flagged.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, "Why are you what?" Because like it wasn't dirty, but what I wanted is I wanted an image of me as a horse and then you in a golden bikini riding me with like a flaming axe. I thought it'd be so funny,
Oh
but
my god.
I guess it didn't like the I have descriptions that kind of keep my person looking the same and your person looking the same. So when I put my person in the shape of a horse and you in a golden bikini riding my person, they're like, no. They're like, that's where we draw the line.
But they won't draw the line at the image where you had to cover up the
Right.
balls with a daisy.
Did y'all catch that 1 week or 2 weeks ago? One of the goblins was fully hung, and it was all there out in the open, like testes, dong. It was all right out there, and I didn't notice it at first. So when I was in there putting the captions on, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's right there!" So I had to get like this clip art image of a daisy and put it on there to cover it up. So yeah, so apparently that can slip through, but a
Oh my
bikini
god.
warrior princess riding a half man, half horse is somehow inappropriate. Get out of here.
Dude, that is too funny. Like,
Yeah,
honestly, I need a
yeah,
minute.
yeah. So this week's I'm gonna this week's will be funny. This week's will be really good.
I cannot
I've
wait.
already got
Like,
an idea. Yeah, just let me tell you, it involves whales and monkeys. So yeah, yeah. So we'll see where it goes.
oh my god, it's gonna be amazing. I
I'm
cannot
excited.
wait.
I'm
But
excited.
okay, so yeah, that is like it reminds me of fast food fantasy because in modern time, and I think a lot of authors can attest to this even as readers, authors being readers, is that you pick up a fantasy book that claims to be epic or high fantasy and it's very rushed feeling. It doesn't take a lot of time between characters, it doesn't take a lot of time establishing plot, theme,
Right.
or the tone or even justifying like character actions and stuff like that. I know as a reader myself before I slumped into the longest reading slump I've ever been in.
Yeah.
But like reading fantasy, I was getting so frustrated because I was like, this isn't epic fantasy. I'm like, this is fast food fantasy. Like
Yeah.
you think you're reading epic fantasy, but you're reading a poor representation of it,
Right.
because epic and high fantasy is really about immersing yourself in that world,
Right.
being able to say like there is a 15,000 word chapter because these characters are so alive and they come off screen. That's what makes them so memorable and
Right.
timeless.
Right.
That's what makes epic and high fantasy what it is. And
That's
it's
what fantasy used to be.
yeah, I mean,
That is what fantasy used to be. It slowly changed into less and less about the characters and more just about each. It's basically just taking beats and giving the beats as the book.
yeah, it's not
You
breaking
know,
down these beats or anything
right,
like that. It's just like boom, 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 boom.
right. Here's your character. Here's the situation. Here's the side character. Here's where they go. Here's the
Yeah,
town. And it's just like okay, that's fine and great. And I've read a lot of them, and a lot
yeah,
of them are fun, and you can get through them in like a week.
yep,
You can get through them in like a day if you're. But that's not what the true heart of storytelling is, at least for me. And it's not what I
I
actually
agree.
want to read. If it takes me longer, if it's more engrossing, that's fine because this world is important.
Exactly. Like that is something that I feel really fondly about. When I sat down and wrote The Blood of the Lion, my sole intention was to stay true to what it meant to be fantasy.
Yeah.
And it was like I was so tired at that time reading these fast food fantasies. And again, I have read them, and like you said, they are fun. They're adventurous. You can get through them in a day or two, 3 days, a week.
Yeah.
But man, what happened to really just immersing yourself and creating a world that feels so real to the reader that they want to hang maps up on their wall of that world.
Exactly.
They
Exactly.
want the replica swords. They want they want to see a real someone impersonating a character
Right.
from that
They
world.
want to be part of that world. You
Yeah.
won't get that with fast food fantasy because it's
No.
just one and done. It's
It's
just like
one and done. It's forgettable.
yeah, it's forgettable. Right. It's
Yeah.
it's great. It's great entertainment, but it's forgettable. It's
Yeah.
an Avengers movie and not The Godfather. There's just
Exactly.
right. The Godfather, yes, it's like 3 hours long, and you might have a 20-minute scene, of just two guys in a room talking.
Because that's what it meant to be, have character development, to
Right.
tell a story.
Right. That is story. Now you have 2.5, 3 hour movies of just explosions. And
Exactly.
right. So there's just and it's fine. It's totally good. And it's
Yeah.
entertainment, but it's forgettable. You
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I hear the 15,000 word chapter, I'm like, you do it, because
Yeah.
it's so fun. And it's actually kind of really refreshing to hear. I have been working on the outline for book 5, and I am realizing there's going to be a lot unraveling because of what happened in book 4, and there's a lot more development happening, and there's going to be, more heartier development scenes where it's just like you're sitting down, you know, with that other character in front of a fire and talking. And it's just like, I think a lot of authors can feel this, but it's like, is this too slow? Or is
Right.
this, is this not quick enough? Am I not introducing enough fast enough?
Right.
And I've definitely, having working through the outline, which I am going to talk about in a second here because it was inspired by you.
Hey.
But hey, so
Hey.
so but having worked through it, I have noticed a little bit of a building fear where I thought, oh my gosh, coming off of book 4, where, all 3 books led to some massive climatic moments in book 4, is book 5 going to feel slow to readers? And that is my fear. The curse of book 5, and, they say the curse of book 3 even, right? Where
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, and that's always been my fear, is like, am I going to be that person? And so, yeah, I've kind of been dealing with a little bit of those fears this week when I'm kind of been outlining and working through it and seeing the beats play out in my head and on paper. And I'm like, okay, is this too slow? But these are necessary. Like, this is an absolutely necessary development piece in order to, I don't know, save the freaking realms.
Right.
Like, because
Right.
I don't want the one and done easy, oh, we have to save the realms, let me just click this button or read this book and it's fine,
Right. Right.
it's like,
Right.
I never wanted it to be that. I want it to be like, this is a hero's journey in order to save the realms, and what does it mean to be a
Right.
hero?
And we, in telling these stories, we don't have decades and decades and decades of comic books
No.
that have already built these characters and these stories all the way so that we can throw, 2.5 hours or, 180,000 words of fights and explosions and kisses and things. We can't do that. We
Yeah.
have to build these characters in this world up and give you a climax and an ending. That all has to be
Yeah.
encompassing in this one book. So it's gonna take time if it's done right.
Exactly. And it's like, it's been, for me, really rewarding to work on the outline so early from writing, because I do want it to marinate. I want it to sit there and think about it. Already a few of the chapters that I had done in the original draft for writing, they're going to stay, for Cyrus specifically, because you get introduced to the Writer Federation, all the Dragon Rider history. And that is just, I mean, all the first 4 books have led to that moment,
Right.
to walk into this destroyed city and hear the story, and
Yeah.
it's like, and to resurrect that. And so it's like, that's such an absolute necessary moment for him. And so, but like the rest, I'm like throwing it out, I'm like, let's see what happens,
Yeah. Yeah. Heck
and
yeah.
it's been very exciting. But so, yeah, it was interesting to hear that, because I need to hear that sometimes, with the, just let the story breathe and let
Yeah,
those
man.
characters have their moment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, because I get, it's very easy as an author to start questioning the direction of the story and think, okay, is this the right direction? But what if the readers don't like it because maybe it's too slow? But
That's exactly what I was just gonna say, and that's something you can't ask unless you're just writing for the paycheck, unless you're just which
yeah,
their writing is a business. There's a big business to it. You can follow the trends and you can write to trends and have a better chance of making a sale or making money or getting published. I understand that. If that's your goal, then do it. Do
yeah,
it. But if your goal is to tell a story so deep and so beautiful and so heartbreaking, telling the story that's so enrapturing that it will pull people in and not let them go, then you can't ask, oh, will the readers like this?
Exactly.
Will this blah 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 for the readers? No, you just have to let the story be, right?
You do. It's like you have to let the characters lead that story because
Right.
at this point 5 books in the characters have proven themselves and
Right.
it's like they're on this journey and really it's like what situation are they being put into, who are they as a person now,
Yeah.
especially after the events of book 4, and it's like they need that moment to reset but then still address the fact that the massive plots that were unleashed in book 4
Yeah.
and save some people's lives because somebody's dying. And, it's like, and then on top of that, I've realized there's a budding romance. And it's like, and so
Aw.
yeah. And so this person has been with this character since book 2.
Nice.
And you've watched this banter and everything like that. And I'm realizing that the storyline is leading toward what is going to be a friends to lovers budding romance.
Awesome.
And it's just like it feels very natural. And I want
And you never set out to do that.
no,
Right.
no,
Right.
no, I
That
never did.
right. And see that's going to mean something
And I
because
wanted to have that time.
right. Right. Like you said, the characters are telling the story.
Yeah.
They're deciding the path, and
Yeah.
that's what's exciting. Speaking about romance, uh, you know anybody in this room right now that might be okay at writing some romance? I've been showing you some scenes. What you think, girl? I mean, I'm doing all right, right?
Oh my god. What did you say? The sun warmed or the sun bathed petals?
I think it was
That was
the sun warmed petals. Yeah.
that was such a
Uh,
beautiful line.
that whole scene was oh goodness gracious, man! It's so funny because I sit there and I'm not writing any kind of
No.
smut. I'm not writing any kind of sexual stuff. No, this is straight up like beautiful romance, and
Ugh,
man, oh man, like I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm
yeah.
like, I never thought I'd be the guy that would write romantic scenes or these beautiful poetic descriptions of young lovers, and it's really good. I'm really enjoying it.
The snippets you've shared, I gotta be honest with you, they're better than like 99% of the romance I've read. So
You know,
that's and
well,
that's not,
thank you.
I say
Yeah,
99 because there's a couple of you and you watch this, and if you're watching this, I'm talking to you. I love him. Tenji, I will die for you. That's for SM Web. Okay.
she said the 99 so that the people who are watching this don't suddenly unsubscribe. That's let's be honest. That's why she.
No. I will die for Tenji. Okay.
That's awesome.
I have told her and she knows it. I'm like, I would like, that was romance.
Yeah,
That what he did, how she built his character. It reminds me a lot of what you've done. And it's just
awesome.
like I think people blur the lines of what it means to write romance. And romance isn't necessarily the physical attributes, right?
Correct.
The sex scenes,
Right.
the look at her hips. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
look at his
I read
chiseled
it.
bod,
Yeah, I read one the other day that was just talking like it was using such simple, basic terms and describing like some dude grabbing this chick's butt, and it was in first person, and there was no romance to it at all.
No.
There was zero romance. There was zero poetry. There was zero beauty. It was just like I was like, what? What is this? What is this?
That's like it's like the lines have been blurred and I'm like
Yeah, yeah,
romance is supposed to be poetically beautiful, thematically powerful. It's
right,
supposed to explore what it means to be human and to
right.
have that companionship with somebody that you trust with everything that you are. And
It's supposed to draw those intimate feelings out, those innate desires that we all have for
yeah,
for companionship and for touch and for acceptance and for love. It's supposed to do all that, and you can't do that when you say, Yeah, grabbed my butt. And we stuck our tongues down each other's throats. Like, what?
What is happening, people?
Right,
Like,
right.
take a minute to talk about it, you know? Like,
Come
what
on,
is it
man.
like these characters are being forced together. Like, what does it mean for these characters to be together? Like,
Right,
what would they do for each other, you
right,
know?
right.
And so that's like, God, I'm thinking about Tenji now.
Who is this? Who is this Tingy? And
He's an angel. So
oh,
in this the series Spirited by SM Webb, like I love her books, and it's basically what happened. Like there's a life after you die, and
cool.
so there's a heaven and the hell, and there's these angels and spirit guides, and like it's just like, and essentially you follow these two girls that were enemies. They didn't like each other in the real life. They die in a car accident, and they are
Mm,
placed in heaven, and they're learning what it means to be a spirit guide, and they're paired together and they have to work together,
mm.
but they're soulmates, and one of them ends up falling for, or like he's her guide and stuff like that, and they end up being soulmates, and he's like this freaking angel, and he's just
I like the
amazing.
name. The name
Yeah,
Tingy is awesome.
it's like I've SM Web. I probably slaughtered that entire description, so I apologize. But I will tell you, I will die for the series. Like,
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
good.
it is a beautiful series. So, and the
That's cool.
romance is it's beautiful. That's
Yeah,
what romance
right.
is, and
That's
it's
that's
like,
what that's what it should be. Right.
yeah, it's just like it's so magical, and I like full blown bawled my eyes out at the end of the book too. Like I was
Awesome.
like gasped, got up from the chair, cried, sat back down, and reread the last page.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah,
That's some great emotion. That's yeah.
yeah.
That's an impact. That's what it means to write a story. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was just like, and I haven't had like such a physical reaction in so long. I was like, oh my God. So yeah,
Awesome.
SM Web, massive shout out to you. Thank you for writing good romance. We
Sweet.
love you.
Yes. Yes.
And
Thank
now
you.
Micah
That's
needs to
good.
read it. It's on audiobook now, so you can listen to it.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I might have a credit. So yeah, I very well may. I
Yeah.
will do that. Yeah.
So I derailed that entire conversation talking about Tenji,
Nope.
talking
I
about my lover. So
that's what we do. That's what we do. So anyway, so you are even going to be stepping into the realm of
oh
romance author. That's
yeah, it's just like so if you read the first couple of books, there are some romantical scenes with physical intimacy.
mhm,
The first book was done more for massive character development,
mhm,
because I wanted Morai, and this sounds really bad, I wanted Morai to feel rejected with love,
yeah,
but to want that control. And so his scenes they're much more darker when it comes to romance. It's intended to display where he is psychologically and how he is starting to fall apart. And the one thing he's always wanted is to trust somebody and to have that companionship, and then that's ripped away from him.
yeah,
And what does that mean, and how does he retaliate?
yeah.
And the second book is, there is a scene with Cyrus and this princess that he has to see again. Poor guy. But he it's the first time Cyrus feels like he's a bit of a man, and so
Mhm,
it's a big monumental moment for him, and for those two to have a moment together.
yeah,
Just because he's been running, and this is the first time he's given some sort of peace, even though it's very short lived.
yeah,
And Zora, the princess, looks at him differently than anybody else. She doesn't see him as a weapon, as a dragon rider.
yeah, yeah.
She just sees him as Cyrus, and he sees right through that, and he adores her. And so it's very cute, and I'm so excited, but they'll be revisiting again. But this is not even about Cyrus. This is
Yeah.
about somebody else. And so it's like, and I don't want to say anything too much yet, because obviously then I would spoil that. But this is about two other characters, and it's just like I've watched them progress as friends, because that's what they were. And it's just been really fun to see, what does it mean to them to be loyal to each other,
Yeah.
to have that companionship, to do anything for each other. And at first it was, we need each other because you are part of this part of the prophecy, and I have to keep you alive for this reason. And then the other person is like, I need you because you protect me, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing right now. And you're giving me answers, and you're training me and helping me be a better version of myself so that I can protect myself. Because essentially the main character is tossed into okay, it's Syra. All right. I can't even say she, it. I'm like,
you
I'm
know,
dying over here. I'm like,
by the time it's done, everyone who's read the books is going to already know. So yeah, you might as
yeah,
well.
I was realizing that. I was like, it's Syra. Everybody,
Yeah,
it's Syra.
yeah,
So Syra is essentially, she's thrown into the situation, right? Everybody, she's thrown into a bloodline she doesn't know anything about. She's the heir to a realm she knows nothing about. And it's like she's thrust into this situation where she wants to run. She spends the first, what I think, 2.5 books wanting to run.
yeah.
And I love the reluctant hero trope. That's like one of my favorites because I
Yes.
don't think it pisses me off when people are like a hero comes into a skill or a calling and they suddenly just embrace it. And I'm like, you are completely denying what it means to be human. Like they have fear, maybe they don't want anything to do with it, and things like that. So that's a very heavy thing I just explore.
Yeah.
So anyways, that being said, she's paired with somebody, and we probably all know who it is, but I'm not going to say names just for fun. So,
I'll put it up in big bold letters.
but it's like, so if you read the end of the fourth book, you realize she basically went to the end of the realm, literally, to save this guy's life.
Yeah.
And because she realizes she doesn't even know it yet. She's like, I can't even imagine a life without him. Like, she's just like, this guy is everything to me. And in the fifth book, there's consequences to her decisions, and we start to explore that.
Okay.
But in that, she's forced to realize that she thinks of him a lot differently than what she realizes. And
Yeah.
so there's a little bit of that flourishing romance there. And it's just like, I never wanted to force the romance if it wasn't going to be there. Like, if anybody reads my books, they're like, yeah, you have like 2 romantical scenes in like 4 books,
Well,
you know?
like you said, they're not even exploring the vastness of what romance is. They're just more of the physical for necessity or for things like that. So
Right.
there is a lot of stuff there that is
Right. And that's what, so seeing that happen in book 5, and I've had a long conversation with Syra. I've sat down with her because I'm like, there's some, if you make this decision, you can't go back,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I ain't about to go back and forth with you. And she's just like, no, this is the right path. Because there's a monumental scene in book 4 where one character, the god that's really twisted and kind of demented, but he's really been protective and loyal to her, basically says, I can't be who you want me to be. And he's okay with that. And he has to be, even though he adores her. He can't be that reliable, stable individual. And
Yeah.
so that's like, because he's just crazy. And there's a massive reason for that we are going to begin to explore in book 5 and to the rest of the saga.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously she's got a lot of men around her corner that are always protecting her, and that's just because of the situation she's been put into. But it's been a lot of fun to watch her journey because I feel like a bystander.
Right.
And I feel like a bystander, watch her journey unravel and realize that this individual has always been in her corner, and the relationship that they have, they don't even realize they have it. And now in book 5, they're gonna have to be forced to face that. And it's very exciting.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Love it.
I just rambled for what feels like 20 years.
I mean, yeah, it was. I can see you're starting to sober up, so that's good. Yeah, so that's good. So welcome everyone. Chelsea is now with us. So,
oh my god, yeah. So I'm excited, and like, your romance scenes are beautiful. Like, it is. God, that is the romance I want to write. When I get to that point, and I will, depending on where the story goes, it's like, definitely there's a lot of world and realms ending events happening. But if I have those small sweet moments, it's like, that's what I inspire to be. It's like those scenes you write, that those just, God, wow.
well, first of all, thank you. That's great. I appreciate that. Yeah. But and yeah, that's just another one. We should do a full episode on just, I don't know, crafting a scene. Maybe we should do something like that, because that's how, when I go into every scene, it's, man, I just try to get so granular. I try to get so just soaked into the scene, and just soaked into everything that's happening there. And
Have
I
to.
think that's part of what makes a good scene. I think there's a lot of what makes a good scene is getting soaked into that scene and actually becoming part of it, because then you can tell it better. Then
Oh
it's not just using a couple simple sentences to say what's going on. You can actually describe the world and describe the textures and
oh,
and the smells and what's happening and who's there and how they're being affected and all this stuff. It doesn't just have to be a simple scene. And I think that's what's taking me so long to actually write this, is because maybe one in every 20 scenes is a simple scene, and the rest of them are these ridiculously just painted, sculpted, just masterclass. And I'm not saying I'm a master at all. I'm not saying that at all. I would never deign to say
he
such a.
does.
No, well, look, normally I do on mute, Chelsea, so they can't hear it. So they can't hear it. But I try to make every scene just this perfect moment in time. So I don't know. It might be fun. It might be fun to do a full episode on scene craft, how we craft a
I would do
scene.
it.
Yeah.
I would absolutely do it because I think there's a lot you can learn from that. And even the way down to the most minute details, like how you deliver that detail can shape the entire tone and the delivery of that scene.
Delivery is very
And
important too. You're right. You're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so yeah, I will go off. So I will not. We will do an entire episode
Yes.
on that
Let's do
because
it. 'Cause we're almost to the point where we probably want to. But let's. Unalive the episode. We'll use that word, right? Because you don't want to get banned from YouTube. But yeah, I think maybe next week after, we'll have like a scene writing craft
I would
session.
do it.
Yeah.
I would do it because it's funny. It's like the moment we started talking about it, it's just like, oh my gosh, I could sit here and go for the next 3 hours on it.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy. It's like instant, so I don't want to cut it short and devalue the quality
Exactly.
of what it means to craft that scene. But
Yeah.
we're obviously it's gonna happen, people.
Yeah. Let's do
So
it. That sounds fun. Did you want to go into the other topic, or do we, like, I don't know, how would it be, like a 10-minute topic, or should we, or will
I
it
think
turn?
it'll be a 10-minute topic.
Okay.
I think I'm just gonna share like okay, so I've made it public. I'm working on the query project, right? I've done the development edits. I have been spending the week going through and just working on line editing stuff, notes I've left myself, enhancing certain scenes, building out certain top concepts because I want to. And so it's just like, because I have like in a month, I have an entire month to play with this, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. So that being said, I'll be working on that today again. But so I texted you and I was like, bro, I finished all my development comments. And you're like, WTF. Like, what a crazy feeling, right?
Yeah.
Because I got these back last July. And the longer I waited to get into them, the more anxious I got because I
Right.
felt like I was letting myself down. Because I was like, I am being that statistic. like,
Right. Right.
like, yeah. And so I did that. It was such a monumental thing. And like, it's crazy to think about them in the stage. Like, as an author, and I think we've all done this, we message other authors that we think are in our corner.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's the goal is to help build each other up
Well,
because
like,
we're
yeah,
all
like
on this journey.
when you told me, like, I was like, let's go, now what do you get to do? What's your next step? Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I do that too. Like when I finish a
Yeah.
scene, when something comes up, I'll text you and you'll be like, yes, let's, yeah.
I love that gif I sent the freaking
It was so good. Was it the go
oh
go
my
go go? Is that the one? Yeah,
god,
so good.
go, go, go. I just like that is the thing that I just think of that.
Yeah,
But it's like, so you have these people in your corner that you think support you and everything like that. And I messaged this author and I said, oh my gosh, because they'd known. And I said, oh my gosh, I finished these development edits, and this is, it's no secret. This was a huge, monumental step toward a big goal of mine. And I
absolutely.
think anybody can talk about how intensive development edits are. And if you get through development edits, you're basically done with the manuscript,
Yeah.
like essentially, right? It's just like that's the hardest part. And so as an author, telling any author that you finished development on it, that's a big moment. You're like, dude, you
huge
made it.
moment. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Like,
then,
like when Chelsea told me this, like if we lived in the same state, if we lived near each other, I would have taken her out for a drink or something. Like it's a big moment.
damn right.
Yeah,
It is a big moment. Like, right back at you too, dude. And
yeah.
seriously, when you release your book, I'm gonna freak the F out. Okay.
I'm pumped, dude.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's like, holy crap. That is like my freaking, I'm like treating it like my book. I'm like, are you ready for
You're
epic
in it.
book?
Yeah, you're in it with me, bro.
Yeah, dude. Like it is like a personal vendetta. I'm like, did
Yeah,
you finish your effing chapter? Like, yeah, okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that being said, I tell this person, they completely ignored the entire message and talked about something else. And I was like, that was weird.
What? No, so not that they didn't see the message or ignore the message, they saw it, but then it was like, oh, anyways, so this happened.
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
that's the thing. Like, so, there were a few messages sent regarding some life stuff, not emergency or anything like that. It's just, gossip, right?
Yeah.
BS. And then so I replied to those, the BS stuff. And then I said, oh, by the way, I finished my freaking development and this is like really exciting because I cannot believe this is really happening. Oh my God. Yeah, completely ignored that entire message and just talked about their stuff. And
That's
then, yeah,
crazy.
yeah. And then it happened the next day. I purposely brought it up again and they ignored it again. And so I was like, what the heck? And so the point of that is that it is extremely disappointing, I think, in this community when you think you have people in your corner as an author with other authors and they don't. And they're resentful, maybe they're hateful, maybe they're angry at their situation and they're using you as an output for that. Whatever the case might be. That's no excuse. It's like we're all in this together.
Yeah, that's crazy. I would assume that a lot of it could be, some of it could be hate, some of it could be all that other stuff you said. But I think it all boils down to all those other, words you said could very well boil down to jealousy. You
Could
know,
be. I hate
it
to use that word. It makes me cringe.
it makes me cringe too, and because jealous of what? Because like you said, we're all in it together. There should be no jealousy. There should be no hate. I think that a lot of the people, and this is sad to say, but I have my own people like this, and I've been let down a lot. And it's weird you and I talking about this because we are always in everybody's corner, and
Yeah.
we're always doing stuff for other people for zero profit. Like I just got done doing a bunch of stuff for zero profit that took me
Yep.
hours and hours and hours of time. And even though we had sworn, I think last year we had sworn we were done doing like pro bono other things for other people, but
Uh,
it just happens. And so I know what you're saying when you have these people in your corner, and you're obviously in their corner. You think they're in your corner, and then all of a sudden they're just not. And
well, and on top of that, I have done pro bono stuff for these people,
yeah,
right?
right,
Because I
right,
want to see them succeed. And
right,
like this author in specific, I've done a lot of pro bono work for that person.
yeah.
And now it's like, you won't support me in my moment?
Right. Well, and so
Yeah.
so here's my thought, and this kind of got brought up out of the blue, so I have not been able to put any actual real thought into it other than the last 5 minutes or so. But I think that a lot of people, tell me if I'm wrong, a lot of people that are in our corner, and listeners too, if you have people like this or if you've experienced this, I think that a lot of people in our corner are only in our corner. So they're in our corner supporting us. What we talk about when in our corner. The towel guy and the spit bucket guy and the mouthpiece guy in a boxing ring. That's what we're talking about. The people who support you while you're in the battle. I think a lot of people in our corners are only there to get what they can out of our battles and out of our
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Uh, and that's a hard thing to say. I hope that's not true, but I truly honestly feel that way.
yeah, it feels that way sometimes. That's kind of weird you brought that up because I was literally going to text you about that. Like, 3 or 4
Really?
different times now where I thought, like, doing random things around the house or, like, things like that, and something happens, with that said author, and I'm like, "Why do I feel like people just wanna know me because of what they can get from me?"
Right. Right.
Because
And,
I
and it-
do like to support and
exactly.
provide
Exactly. That's what I
services.
was going to say. We kind of do it to ourselves.
We do.
You know, we often help people. I've lost thousands of dollars, just doing things for other people, and that's fine. That's good. Um, but when does it stop?
Yeah,
When-
when is it like the line has gone too like it's too far. You
Right.
stepped over and now this is abusing the friendship or the services or what I am as a person.
Or
Like
why would you have, if you're going out in a fight, why would you have somebody in your corner who isn't really going to be in your corner?
exactly. And
Right.
that's just like again that comes back to the conversation that we've discussed where it's like how can you how can you get rid of said person respectfully without them lashing back when you are in on the social media realm, right? And maybe you share the same readers or you fear how that person might lash back out because you don't want your name slandered
Right.
as an author
So
for
so
just defending yourself.
I actually experienced this a couple years ago. I can't remember the account name. Of course, I blocked them and banned them, but they had asked me to do something for them, and I did it. They were asking me to help them write a blurb. I did it. Great. Hey, can you edit my manuscript? No, I don't really do edits. Well, why not? I need this done by blah blah blah. Who the are you to say why not? I need this done by. Hold on, I am not under your employ. I'm not your employee, bro. Like, I just did something for you out of the kindness of my heart. You liked what I did, and now you want to
Yeah.
like turn. So, anyways, after about two back and forths of my kind, gentle declining of working with them any further, that's pretty much what I said, and I just blasted them. I put them on hard blast, and they were like, they're like, I can't believe you're such a terrible person, and blah blah blah. And it went on and on. I was like, okay, I'm blocking you, dude. I don't care. Oh, you're just gonna block me now? Well, I'm gonna tell everybody who you really are. I was like, dude, tell them whatever you need to tell them, because I've established myself as someone who really cares, as a nice person. If you want to try to run my name through the mud, you can. You might succeed. Who knows? Some people might believe you, but no more. So I blocked them, banned them. I can't remember who they were, but and they did try. They did try. They started talking nasties, and not many people believed it, and whatever, and it disappeared. So I actually did have that happen.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm still here and breathing. So it's like you have to trust your character, right? And
Yeah.
I know you're a good person, and I'm a good person. There's that stupid bird. I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna barbecue that bird, and I'm gonna eat it.
Not a lot of meat on that bone,
I'm gonna,
bro.
I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna eat me a parakeet. That's what I'm gonna do.
Set a goal.
um anyway, so there's the point where, if you're doing the right thing, if you're walking the right path, people are going to hate. You can't let them bring you down, and you have to trust that your character and your path is going to see you through that, and more people will see that than believe the lies.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely that's really good to hear. It's I had no idea about your experience, and
Yeah.
it's definitely like something that weighs on me because there are a couple of people that I feel are just in my circle because or in my corner because they want something from me. And
Right.
that's not everybody. There are people that watch this. I'm talking to both Brians, okay? And like everybody that's subscribed here, I love you. But there are a couple of people that I don't speak publicly about that I do feel like are taking advantage of me and abusing what was once a really cool friendship.
Yeah.
And so that's just like it's just really sad because what do you do in that situation as an author? And separate that as an author, it's very disappointing to feel that sort of rejection from another author when you're like
Right.
we were supposed to cheer each other on, you
Right.
know? Like
Right.
that would be like if you sent me a snippet of your stuff and I just ignored everything.
Right.
and then just started talking about myself, you'd be
Start
like,
talking about yeah, right.
you'd be like, "Did you hit
I'm
your head, bro?"
assuming from what you're saying, I'm assuming this isn't a single event, or this isn't
This
a
is a
one time.
multitude of events
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is starting to really start to tick me off,
yeah.
so,
I get you because it kind of comes off that way, like it's kind of been boiling for a while. And so
yeah.
when you asked what do you do in that situation, I would honestly say the first thing you do is you have a one
Sacrifice
on
them to
one.
the wolves. Oh, okay.
Yes, no, you sacrifice them to the wolves. Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
that's what I should have said. I'll cut this and say that instead. Yeah,
come on.
no. First thing you should do is have an actual sit down, right? Because if they are a mature, genuine human being that has social graces and understands, the connection that is needed between humans, blah 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 blah, all this bullcrap. Blah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If they're a real person, they will have a sit down with you and they will listen as you say, "Hey, this, and this. I'm really starting to get hurt by this. I don't understand where we stand. Blah blah blah," and just lay it all out. And if they don't respond with, "Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah, let's talk," whatever, then you can bounce them right there, right?
Oh,
Just bounce them right there. Well, why if they don't respond with at least a yes, let's have a dialogue, yes, let's talk about this, then why in the world are they in your life?
I
Right?
agree, and
Yeah.
the non-author me, when before I was in this circle, people, interactions, everything's interconnected, I was that ruthless person that was like, "If you effed me over, you heard about it,"
Well,
and that
I'm not even talking to ruthless. I'm talking to have a dialogue, and
I was terrifying.
it may turn out to where you both agree that okay, maybe this point in our relationship is done. You go your way, I'll go my way, and everything's amicable, everything's peaceful, and it may turn out to them just being a terrible person, and you saying, okay, then from here on out, I think we're done. But also keep your receipts, right?
Yes,
Keep
I
your
love
receipts.
that.
Yeah. If
Ah!
if if they come back and try to charge back something on you or something like that, first of all, let your character speak. Your character will speak for you, and the people around you who do have your corner will fight for you if it comes to that, which it very well shouldn't because we're adults. But if it does, your character and your people around you will fight for you. And if all else fails, you got the receipts.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's like, we are all adults, but I fear this person isn't.
Yeah.
Like, that's my problem.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and so I understand being in the social sphere, trying to build a public face of some repute so that you can
yeah,
have people read your books, but again, you can't do that at the cost of being used or constantly being talked down to or made to feel not as what you are. So yeah, that would be my
that
thought.
was Micah's TED Talk, everybody.
Yeah,
So
there's my TED talk for the also poop and butts and hemorrhoids and things because that's normally what I'm known for talking about. So yeah, poop butts, hemorrhoids.
so that being said, if you have somebody in your corner that you're like, you are treating me like crap, kick them to the curb.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Or at least open a dialogue because maybe
yeah,
they are not understanding. Maybe subconsciously they're not seeing what
true.
they're doing. Right. So that's why I say dialogue first because we
Yeah,
are human beings and we do all have different personalities. We all struggle with different things at different times. So sit down, have a dialogue. If they refuse to even do that, then you bounce them right there because they're not
yeah,
worth having in life. Right. Yeah.
yeah. That's like,
100%.
the world is big, but it's also very small. And it's like, as authors, or even whatever shared passion you're sharing with a community of people, it's like, you're there because you all agree that you love to do something. Support each other. Like,
Right.
this isn't a competition. And if it is a competition, it should be a healthy competition, like
Right.
Mike and I've talked about,
Right.
where we're constantly being like, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. And it's like, we have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you start using it as I'm better than you, and or I'm jealous or I'm resentful because maybe I'm unhappy in my own life, and so I'm going to, lash out, it's like, that's sad. That's really
Right.
sad. And that's what I think this person has come down to, is they're falling apart in their life, and
Mm.
they're using me as an outlet.
But
And
instead
it's
of instead of coming to you and saying, "Hey, I'm hurting," or "Hey, this is happening," whatever,
yeah.
they're lashing out. And see, and that's why you have to give the opportunity. You have to have a dialogue first. If they refuse that, then you kick them.
Yeah.
They're not worth having. I don't
Yeah.
mean that physically. Big Brother or algorithm who would hear me say kick someone. No, I mean kick them to the curb. Right?
Kick him,
But
sacrifice him to the wolves.
sacrifice them to the wolves, blood, guts, bone breaking. Yeah. Anyways.
So that was the 10-minute turned into 15, 18-minute discussion about authors not supporting authors.
That was great. That was good talk. I've been Micah.
I've been Chelsea.
Together we have been not a podcast, but kind of a podcast. Please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. We would appreciate it. It does help. It helps us a lot. We're a very tiny little channel, but we enjoy doing this. We enjoy talking to all of you. Leave a comment, talk to us, and until next time, bye.
Bye.